What if the reason your dryer is taking twice as long and your energy bill keeps creeping up isn't the machine itself, but something hidden deep inside your walls? Most homeowners in metro area Georgia don't think about their dryer vent until something goes wrong. But what starts as a little lint buildup can quickly turn into poor performance, higher costs, and even a serious fire risk. In today's deep dive, we're breaking down why dryer vent cleaning in metro area Georgia is a must for every homeowner, and how this simple, often ignored task can protect your home, improve efficiency, and save you money in the long run.
Yeah, it's actually wild how much blind faith we put in our major appliances, like we just toss in a load of heavy wet towels, shut the laundry room door, and just kind of expect the machine to magically make the water disappear.
Right. Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. But there is a very physical, mechanical reality to how that moisture leaves your house. And when we ignore that physical pathway, well, the consequences compound pretty quickly.
Welcome to the deep dive, everyone. Today's sources are they're gonna completely change how you view laundry day.
Oh, absolutely.
But before we get into the hidden physics of your home, we really need to thank the folks who provided the incredibly detailed source material for today's deep dive. And that is Four Seasons Air Care LLC. You can reach them at 404-891-0225.
Yeah, and the documentation they provided, it literally gave us a look behind the drywall. It's basically a masterclass in home maintenance.
It really is. And what stands out in their material is that Four Seasons Air Care LLC, they aren't just dealing with dryer vents. They are like an all-in-one powerhouse for indoor air quality and home safety.
Yeah, their scope is huge.
Right. Like they offer comprehensive air duct cleaning GA, crawl space encapsulation, ductwork installation and repair, dryer vent cleaning, disinfection services, HVAC system cleaning, and water damage restoration.
It's a total package.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Again, that number is 404-891-0225. So, okay, let's unpack this because we are talking about a totally mundane household chore that is just quietly sitting in millions of homes, acting as a major fire hazard.
Yep.
Let's start with the scale of this. Like, how big of a problem are we actually looking at here?
Well, it is a massive vulnerability. I mean, when you look at the data from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, and the U.S. Fire Administration, failure to clean the dryer vent, it isn't just like a minor maintenance oversight.
Right.
It is actually the leading cause of home-closed dryer fires.
Wait, really? The leading cause?
Yeah. We are looking at nearly 16,000 dryer fires reported annually in the U.S. alone.
Oh, wow.
And the National Fire Protection Association, the NFPA, they note that nearly 30% of those fires are caused directly by neglected exhaust systems.
30%. That means nearly a third of all dryer fires could be prevented just by, making sure a tube is clear of debris.
Exactly, just a clear tube.
But reading through the research, it seems like this isn't just a universal issue that affects everyone exactly the same way. The sources emphasize that where you live fundamentally changes how dangerous this is.
Right. What's fascinating here is the unique environmental challenge of the metro area in Georgia. Like, the climate itself acts as an antagonist.
The humidity.
Yeah, exactly. Think about the fundamental job of a clothes dryer. It tumbles your clothes while blowing hot air across them to evaporate the water. And then that newly created hot, wet air has to be pushed out through the vent.
And here in Georgia, the relative humidity frequently sits above 70%. So you have a machine trying to push hot, wet air into an environment that is already, totally saturated with moisture.
Yeah, and the result of that collision is that the lint escaping your lint trap isn't that dry, fluffy dust you might see in like a desert climate.
Right, because it's wet.
Exactly. When that microscopic clothing fiber mixes with that 70+% humidity, it becomes deeply damp. It basically transforms into a sticky, wet paste.
Gross.
Yeah, it acts like glue, clinging to the ridges and the walls of your ductwork. And over months and years, layer after layer of this sticky lint builds up, creating a highly restrictive barrier that just traps heat right inside the walls of your home.
That makes me think of like the mechanical equivalent of clogged arteries.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Right. But instead of cholesterol, you have this damp, sticky lint slowly choking off the system's ability to, breathe and exhaust that heat.
Exactly.
I don't get it, though. Like, think about your own home right now. My house was built in 2020. I have a smart thermostat, app-controlled, high-efficiency appliances. You're telling me a new energy-efficient house is actually more prone to a dryer fire than, say, a house built in 1970.
I know, it seems super counterintuitive, but modern architectural layouts actually compound the risk significantly.
Really?
How? Well, in older, simpler home designs, The laundry setup was highly utilitarian. The dryer was usually just pushed up against an exterior wall in the basement or the garage,
Oh, sure.
and the vent was just a short, straight pipe, maybe a foot or two long, going right outside.
Which means the hot air in the lint had a very short, easy escape route.
Right. But in modern metro Atlanta homes, convenience really drives the layout. Homeowners want the laundry room on the second floor near the bedrooms so they aren't, hauling heavy baskets up and down the stairs.
Oh, yeah. Definitely guilty of wanting that.
Or, they want it tucked away in a central utility closet right in the middle of the house to save space.
Oh, I see. So by moving the machine to the middle of the house, the exhaust pipe has to travel a whole lot further to reach the outside world.
Significantly further. You end up with these complex, multi-bend exhaust configurations. The ductwork is running up through ceilings, across attics, down into crawl spaces, and weaving all through floor joists.
Sounds like a maze.
It is, and every single 90-degree bend and every extra foot of pipe causes the airflow velocity to drop. It just creates the perfect, long, winding obstacle course for that sticky, wet Georgia lint to settle, cool down, and just stick to the walls.
Wow. So we basically have a long, winding tube filled with this sticky lint paste, slowly suffocating the appliance.
Pretty much.
But, before a house actually catches on fire, a homeowner's wallet usually takes a hit first. Let's talk about the red flags. How does someone actually know this buildup is happening behind their drywall?
Well, the sources outline several critical symptoms that are honestly really easy to misdiagnose.
Okay, what's the first one?
The most obvious warning sign is simply time. If your drying cycle is stretching past 40 to 45 minutes, like if you find yourself running multiple cycles just to get a single load of jeans or heavy towels completely dry, your vent is choked.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, the machine just can't push the moist air out, so the clothes are just tumbling in a humid box.
And I bet most people probably just assume the dryer is getting old and losing its touch.
They do, constantly, but
Yeah.
it's almost always an airflow restriction. Second, if you touch the top of the dryer while it's running and the appliance itself is abnormally hot to the touch, that's a massive warning sign.
Because the heat can't escape.
Exactly. The heat generated by the element has nowhere to go, so it's radiating backward into the machine's casing.
What about the smell? Because the sources mentioned a burnt odor.
Yeah, and that is literal lint beginning to scorch near the heating element. It's not a subtle thing.
That's terrifying.
It is. You might also notice that the laundry room itself feels unusually humid or warm while the dryer is running. That happens because the moist air is finding the path of least resistance and leaking back into the room instead of exhausting outside.
Right, makes sense.
And finally, if your clothes smell musty right out of the dryer, that means they've just been sitting in a stagnant, humid environment instead of getting properly ventilated.
Yikes. So let's dive into the economics of this because the data from the Department of Energy in our sources is staggering.
It really is. The DOE notes that these clogged vents force your dryer to run longer, which increases drying time by 50% or more.
Half again as long.
At least. Think about the sheer amount of electricity or natural gas required to run a 240-volt high-draw heating appliance for an extra 30 or 40 minutes for every single load.
Just burning money.
Multiply that by a few loads a week over the entire year. It's
Yeah.
huge.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Our sources point out that a professionally cleaned vent can improve the machine's efficiency by up to 30%.
Yeah.
That is a massive drop in your utility bill.
Yeah.
And it's not just the energy cost either. Let's talk about the wear and tear on the machine. How many people just assume their dryer's broken and go drop like $1,000 on a brand new machine when the real culprit is just a clogged pipe in the wall?
A tremendous amount. And what's truly tragic is that even if they buy a new machine, they hook it right up to the same clogged vent, and the new machine struggles too.
Oh, man.
To use an analogy, it's kind of like trying to exhale through a coffee straw while you're running on a treadmill. The dryer's blower motor is suffocating, trying to push air against this incredible static pressure.
And what actually happens to the heating element when it can't push that heat out?
Well, modern dryers have thermal limit switches. Think of them like safety fuses for heat. When the trapped heat builds up too high, the switch trips and turns off the heating element to prevent a fire.
Okay.
Right, but once it cools down, it clicks back on. In a clogged system, that switch is tripping and resetting constantly, over and over.
Oh, I see.
Eventually, the switch just fails, the heating element burns out, or the blower motor simply dies from overexertion. You get premature failure of a very expensive appliance.
It's just a cascading failure. The lint causes the heat causes the high bills are followed by a burned out motor or worse, an actual house fire.
Precisely.
Now, before we talk about how to actually extract this sticky buildup from the walls, we really need to shine a spotlight on the team that solves this exact problem every single day in the community.
Yeah, they really are the gold standard for this kind of preventative maintenance.
A huge thank you to our sponsor, Four Seasons Air Care LLC, based right in Marietta, Georgia. If you're experiencing any of those red flags we just talked about, the 45-minute dry times, the hot laundry room, the musty clothes, you need to call them at 404-891-0225.
And you really don't have to take our word for it. The proof is in the local community's experience. I mean, they maintain a 4.9-star rating from over 798 verified reviews.
That's incredible.
It is. These are real homeowners in the metro area seeing real results and actually getting lower utility bills.
Let's look at some of these exact quotes from the sources. David Mora wrote, "They cleaned my dryer vent and air ducts, and they look spotless now."
Nice.
Samuel Samaka said, "Repaired my dryer vent, and it works great now." And Nick Pattison shared, "Jonathan was quick to respond.
Yeah.
Heading out this coming week for a dry vent cleaning. Solid service."
You know, that responsiveness Nick mentioned is absolutely critical. When you are dealing with a scorching smell or a machine that is overheating, you are dealing with an active fire hazard.
Right.
You don't have the luxury of waiting 3 weeks for a contractor to call you back.
You really don't. Listeners, do not wait until you smell something burning. Call the sponsor now. Dryer Vent Cleaning in metro area Georgia. Call Four Seasons Air Care LLC at 404-891-0225. Okay, so thinking back to those symptoms we discussed earlier. Let's say someone listening right now walks into their laundry room and feels that the dryer is running hot. Their first instinct is probably to just pull the lint screen out, clean it off, and maybe stick the hose of their garage shop vac down into the slot.
Oh, yeah. It is the most common DIY approach, and unfortunately, it is entirely insufficient.
Really? Entirely?
Yeah, we have to dispel the myth of the lint trap. Cleaning the screen is absolutely necessary before every single load, don't get me wrong, but it is only designed to catch a fraction of the debris.
Right.
The finer, microscopic lint fibers bypass the screen entirely and head straight into the ductwork.
All right, but what about those DIY vent cleaning kits you can buy online? You know, the ones with the little plastic wands and brushes you attach to your cordless drill?
Honestly, those can actually do much more harm than good.
Wait, really?
Yes. First, DIY kits inherently lack the raw pneumatic power required to reach the middle of a 10, 15, or 20-foot vent run, especially one weaving through floor joists.
That makes sense.
But more importantly, pushing a flimsy plastic brush into a vent full of that sticky Georgia humidity lint often results in a severe compaction problem.
Compaction. Meaning, because you don't have the suction power to pull it out, you're basically just pushing the sticky lint together into a giant mass.
Precisely. Instead of extracting the debris, you are acting like a snowplow. You bulldoze the lint deeper into the pipe until it forms a dense, impenetrable plug deep inside your walls.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we call it a lint brick. You take a partial restriction and accidentally engineer a total blockage.
Wow. So you basically compress all that sticky paste into a highly flammable brick inside your drywall. That sounds like a very expensive mistake to fix.
It definitely is.
So if my garage shop vac and a plastic wand aren't going to cut it, what kind of sci-fi tech does a professional's truck actually have when they pull up? How do they get the lint brick out?
The professionals at Four Seasons Air Care use an industrial-grade arsenal that you simply can't rent at a big box hardware store. For starters, they use massive air compressors that deliver high PSI pounds per square inch.
Okay.
This is raw, sustained air pressure, and they attach pneumatic air whips to these compressors.
Right, I read about the air whips in the sources.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, how does a high-pressure thrashing hose not completely destroy the flimsy aluminum tube inside the wall?
That's the brilliance of the engineering, actually. The whips aren't rigid metal. They use soft, flexible silicone tentacles.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When the high-pressure air hits them, they thrash around wildly, vibrating and agitating the sticky lint off the walls of the pipe, but they are soft enough that they don't dent or tear the rigid metal ducting.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming they pair that with some serious suction, right?
Oh, yes. They use HEPA filtered industrial vacuums. HEPA stands for high-efficiency particulate air.
Right, to keep the dust out.
Exactly. This is crucial because it traps all the microscopic fine dust, mold spores, and lint fibers inside the machine. It ensures that none of that debris gets blown back into your living space.
Because no one wants that floating around their house.
Definitely not. They also utilize high-speed rotary brush systems that are specifically designed to articulate and navigate those sharp 90-degree bends without binding up. And they don't just guess if the pipe is clear. They use digital manometers and endoscopic cameras.
A digital manometer.
Yeah.
That's a tool for measuring air pressure, right?
Yes, exactly.
Walk us through how they actually deploy all this equipment. When they show up at a house, what is the actual process from start to finish?
Well, they follow a very strict 5-step protocol. They never just start blindly blowing air into a wall. Step 1 is diagnostics.
Okay.
They use that digital manometer, which is a highly sensitive electronic gauge, to measure the exact air pressure inside the duct. They record the CFM, or cubic feet per minute, of airflow at the exhaust terminal outside.
To get a baseline.
Right. This establishes a mathematical baseline of how badly the system is choking before they even touch it.
I love that. It's data-driven. They prove the problem exists with numbers. What's step 2?
Once they have the baseline, they move to the transition duct fix. The transition duct is that short, visible piece connecting the back of your dryer to the wall. In a lot of homes, this is a flimsy, accordion-style foil or plastic tube.
It's incredibly easy to crush if you, accidentally push the dryer back an inch too far.
Exactly. It's a massive point of failure. So the pros will remove that dangerous crushable material and replace it with fire-rated, semi-rigid metal ducting to ensure smooth airflow right out of the gate.
Nice. And then step 3.
After that, they begin the extraction phase.
Oh, this is where the silicone air whips come into play.
Right. They feed the pneumatic air whips throughout the entire run of the pipe to break up the caked-on paste, while the HEPA vacuum operates simultaneously, pulling all the dislodged lint out cleanly.
Okay, so you've cleared the pipe from the inside, but earlier we mentioned the exterior wall. Does all this blasted lint just form a giant messy pile on the homeowner's lawn?
Not at all. And that brings us to step 4, the terminal cap and pest guards. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the inside of your home isn't the only vulnerable point. Think about what an exhaust pipe looks like from the outside. In the winter, it is a tube blowing out beautiful, warm air.
Oh, wow. It must look like luxury real estate to a bird or a squirrel.
It absolutely is. In Georgia, exterior wall caps and roof caps are incredibly prone to becoming nesting grounds for birds and rodents.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, so the professionals clean out those exterior terminals, ensure the flapper valve opens and closes freely, and then they install specialized pest guards. These guards allow the lint to escape, but prevent animals from moving in and blocking the airflow.
Brilliant. And then I imagine they have to prove the system works again for the final step.
You got it. That's the final verification step. They hook the digital manometer back up and retest the airflow and static pressure.
To compare it to the baseline.
Exactly. And they compare the new numbers to the exact manufacturer specifications for your specific dryer. You get documented mathematical proof that the system is breathing perfectly again.
That is incredibly thorough. It takes the guesswork completely out of the equation. So, the obvious question for any homeowner listening who is mentally calculating when their house was built, how often should we actually be doing this? Is this a once-a-decade kind of task?
Not at all. For an average family doing a normal amount of laundry, say a few loads a week, the industry recommendation is once a year.
Annually.
However, if you have a large family running the machine multiple times a day, or if you know your home has a complex vent run that is over 10 feet long, you really should be having it professionally cleaned every 6 to 9 months to stay ahead of the buildup.
So what does this all mean? When you look at all the layers here, the FEMA fire statistics, the Department of Energy efficiency numbers, the reality of Georgia's humid climate baking lint into a sticky paste, dryer vent cleaning isn't an extra luxury service.
No, not at all.
It's not an aesthetic upgrade. It is a vital, routine maintenance task for metro area Georgia homeowners. It literally prevents devastating house fires, it stops your $1,000 appliances from burning out their motors, and it slashes your monthly utility bills by letting the machine breathe.
Exactly.
It is a service that functionally pays for itself.
It is preventative maintenance in its purest form. You're making a small, routine investment to prevent a catastrophic loss and to stop an ongoing bleed on your energy bill.
Listeners, do not ignore the hidden arteries of your home. Think about where your laundry room is right now, and think about how long it's been since that pipe was actually checked. You need to schedule an inspection with the experts who provided today's incredible source material. Call Four Seasons Air Care LLC at 404-891-0225. Not only do they have the high-tech industrial arsenal we just talked about, but they also offer a 100% satisfaction guarantee to the local community. Again, that's Four Seasons Air Care at 404-891-0225.
This raises an important question, though, one we really haven't touched on yet, but that feels so relevant given everything we've uncovered about how modern houses work.
Oh, what's that?
Well, we spend so much time and money optimizing our homes. We install smart thermostats to save a few dollars on heating, we buy ultra-efficient app-controlled appliances, and we meticulously weather strip our windows and doors to keep the draft out.
Right. We make our homes incredibly airtight to seal the energy in.
Exactly. But in our rush to make our homes these sealed-off, highly efficient tech bubbles, are we ignoring the basic physical arteries that allow the structure to breathe? As our homes become more airtight and isolated from the outside world, are we accidentally creating the absolute perfect environments for unseen hazards like damp lint, trapped heat, and stagnant moisture to silently accumulate right behind our drywall? It's a mechanical reality every homeowner needs to seriously consider before they start their next load of laundry.